It certainly does. And Lindsey joins us now as she releases her new book, Take Care. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Lovely to see you. Really lovely to have you on the sofa. First of all, how are you doing? How are the kids doing? How's everybody doing?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. It has, it's been a tough few months for the whole family, but I think in true Rob style, we just want to celebrate his life, and that's why I wanted to write the book, really, was celebration of Rob's life and, you know, to really shine a light on the work that carers do. I think, you know, the book is called Take Care. Care is at the heart of the book, and really to kind of celebrate and recognise the work that carers do. So I feel really proud and honoured to be here today to share the book with you. But yeah, the family's good, and they keep me going, the children keep me going. You know, there's never a dull moment in the Burrow house.
Well, there's
as you can probably imagine, yes.
Yeah, there's three of them. I think that is one thing that you do absolutely take from the book, is just what an important job carers do. And it's amazing that you're ready at this time, because it hasn't been that long, really, to really kind of get that message out there.
Yeah, do you know, I think doing the book has really helped. I think in many ways it's been quite a therapeutic process going through the book and actually reflecting on, you know, because the book is a whole story. It's a story from kind of my childhood, growing up. You know, both my dad and my grandparents were miners, so I grew up in kind of the miners' strike, and then obviously, you know, married life with Rob, having the family, insights into Rob's career, and then ultimately, you know, right up to the last days. So it's, you know, I hope the book will bring people hope and offer hope to people that are going through tough times or that have experienced loss. And, you know, ultimately that's what I wanted to do by sharing the story.
His career was so well followed. We were just talking,
Prolific.
It would be lovely for Jackson growing up, because he's the youngest, of course, because there's so much footage of his dad playing and achieving so many amazing moments. And so my understanding and the world of rugby's understanding is Rob as a professional rugby player. You, of course, knew him as a teenager. So you knew him before when these were just ideals. What was he like back then when you first met?
You know, Rob was just the kindest, most generous, loving person that you could meet. You know, at the heart of it, he was a family man. He would, you know, rush home from training to be with the kids, to take them to play group. He'd be the only dad in the group. You know, the rest of them would be mums, but Rob was there. You know, he idolised the children, and he was such a family man. And I just feel so honoured to have been Rob's wife, you know.
Although you made it hard for him when he
Bring that up.
when he proposed to you, because that feels like he's gone to quite extreme lengths to do this bit. Explain, Lindsey, what happened on the day. And...
Oh, I was hoping he wasn't going to mention this, but now you have. Yeah, so we were in Euro Disney, and we were in the Rainforest Cafe, and Robert got down. He'd asked me what my ring size was prior to going on the holiday, and then he got down on one knee and asked me if he would marry, and I said, get up, you know, just I was, you know, shy, I was embarrassed, you know, so I thought I'd blew it then.
Because you didn't like the attention.
No, I didn't like the attention. But fortunately, he did pluck up the courage and propose the next day in the hotel room, which
By the way, as somebody who's had to do that in the past to someone else, it's a terrifying moment, even though Annie knew it was coming. If she turned around to me and said, get up, this is really embarrassing, I think I would have been distraught.
Oh, but it's also that level of courage that he had when you found out about the diagnosis. And when you read it, actually, what really strikes you is the first words out of his mouth were kind of, I'm glad it's me, and it's not you, and it's not the kids. Do you remember, because I think when you were going in, you weren't expecting that, essentially.
No.
How shocking was that moment for you?
It was devastating. I think, you know, Rob had blood tests, he'd had MRI tests going in, and they'd all come back clear. So it was the nerve conduction studies that he'd had, and we thought at the time that he might have a condition called myasthenia gravis, which affects the speech muscles, but it's treatable.
Right.
So we were quite optimistic going into that consultation, and to be told, you know, you've got a year to 2 years to live, and, you know, my first thought was obviously for Rob, but then the children, you know, what are we going to tell the children? How are we going to tell the children? You know, the dad's got a life-limiting disease, and I think working in the NHS, I had an insight of that path and that journey that we were on, whereas Rob was very much, it will be okay, you know, as long as you're okay and the kids are okay. And that was just Rob, you know, that was just Rob to not... Yeah, absolutely.
He always had such... I mean, even if you look at his career, he shouldn't have been a professional rugby league player. He was the sort of person that gave me hope that I could, because he sort of bucked the trend. He always had that ambition and that positivity. Where did that come from, Lindsey?
Do you know, I think he had adversity in his career. You know, he was constantly told he was too small, he was never going to make it as a rugby player. And I think that really in his battle with MND, you know, consented into that, because actually, you know, being told you've got a year or 2 years to live, Rob wasn't going to accept that. He wanted to spend every single moment with the children. He wanted to see the children grow up and see the milestones. And I think that positive mental imagery, you know, and, you know, I look back and I think, I don't know how he did it. You know, if I was in Rob's shoes, could I have been so positive? And so brave and courageous. And, you know, Rob was a really private family man. So I think for him to open his doors and show the world, you know, the brutality of living with MND and how it affects not just the person, but the whole family was a really brave and courageous thing to do.
It's so funny because there's so many moments that how do you do it moment in the book. Like one for me was your two girls getting up and having the strength to talk at the funeral, which do you describe as a celebration of life?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We wanted Rob's to be a celebration of life. I think he's achieved so much in his, you know, in his career and as a professional player. But yeah, I think the grace and the courage, you know, for the girls to stand up at the funeral and speak about the dad and what he meant to them was just, you know, I felt so proud. You know, at that moment. And I hope in years to come, you know, they look back and think, you know, I did my dad proud because he would have been watching down on them, I'm sure.
And little Jackson on the day as well, you were impressed by his strength going around making sure everyone was OK?
Granddad.
Yeah, he was looking after us all, you know, he was only 5 and such a young age. And, you know, as a parent, you worry about the children and, you know, what effect it's going to be. But I think, you know, Rob wanted us to be happy and, you know, we're determined to keep that promise and continue to make him happy.
There is an extraordinary bit in the book, Lindsey, where you talk about the fact that Rob says that if it was rugby that had given him MMD, he wouldn't have wanted not to have his rugby career. Yeah. Which I think will strike everybody in different ways. They'll take that as, they'll be quite surprised potentially because, you know, that it's the disease that's robbed you of your husband and the children, their father. How did you feel when he said that?
Really comforting, I think, because to know that Rob had achieved so much in his life, you know, he was in a good place. He'd travelled the world with rugby. He'd got brilliant friends. As we've seen with, you know, the friendship with Kevin Sinfield and just, you know, how that camaraderie and that rugby team had come together and the bond. And so I think, yeah, for me, that was really comforting. I think to know that Rob had achieved so much in his life, you know, absolutely devastated that you know, Rob's not here with us today. And but I think, yeah, it's so much to be proud of. And, you know, he leaves an incredible legacy behind. I think, you know, he's given so many people hope. He was the face of the MND community for so many people, you know, under the most difficult of circumstances.
You mentioned Kevin there, of course, his skipper, his best mate, and what a Superman he is. I wonder if can you put into words the sort of the impact that Kevin's had on your lives and since Rob's diagnosis and since Rob's gone?
I think it's given people hope. I think, you know, prior to, I think, the likes of, you know, Rob and Kevin and what they've achieved, people didn't really know what MND was. Yeah. But I think they've really shone a light on it and people now know what it is. And, you know, one thing that strikes me is people say, I don't have to explain what MND is now because people know about it because of the awareness, because of the, you know, the fundraising, the incredible £20 million that's been raised for MND charities is just, you know, phenomenal. And that will change people's lives and give people hope, which, you know, ultimately that's what Rob wanted to do by sharing his story.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about his career and how sensational that was, but the legacy as well that he's left, you know, behind too, £20 million. And what's the future looking like?
Yeah, so, you know, each day, we take each day as it comes. And, you know, my priority is obviously the children and making sure that they're well looked after. But, you know, I want to continue to do my little bit. So I'm running 2 marathons. I'm running the London Marathon in April.
Why is it always marathons?
I know. And then the Rob Burrow Leeds Marathon. So 2 marathons in 2 weeks.
How's the training going?
OK, yeah. The training's the difficult part, fitting everything in. But, yeah, no, it's a challenge. And, you know, I've set myself a goal and, you know, fundraising for 2 amazing charities, the Leeds Hospital Charity Appeal for the MND Care Centre and the Leeds Rugby Foundation. So
that's great. I love the foreword, actually, by Prince William as well. I just think, you know, when he says we should all take care of each other and look out for each other, I think in these times, I think it's a really important thing to do. And I think your book will help so many people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really, really will.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully once you finish the marathon, you take care of yourself for a few days.
Go for a massage.
And your feet and your legs. It's the stairs. That's what the problem is. Lindsey, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Lindsey's book, Take Care, A Memoir of Love, Family and Never.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.